Bienvenidos a Raíces.
Welcome to Raíces, a storytelling podcast celebrating the journeys, resilience, and healing of our communities.
We're three friends and co-founders, storytellers, creatives, and community builders, coming together to honor where we came from and the roots that shaped us.
Each episode, we share real conversations with change makers, healers, and everyday people who are breaking cycles, reclaiming identity, and creating impact in their own way. This is Raíces.
Okay, so today we're here with Brandon Nales. He is working at Dolby Music, co-founder of Digiligue, and creator of Forward.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Brandon, thank you for being here with us. Let's take it back to the origin story. Can you give us a little bit about your background, where you're from, maybe some family values that you really carry with you where you are today? Yeah, I'll keep it open for you. Let's talk about food. I know you love food.
Big food person, 100%. Yes. You can't see it on my body because I'm super skinny, but yeah, big food person. I'm from South Jersey. I grew up in a town called Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's right outside of Philadelphia. I always tell people, I'm from Jersey when I'm here in California, and they're like, oh my God, I love New York. I'm not that kind of New Jersey, a little bit different. My family is Puerto Rican. So as far as, food and culture, it's pernil and ajo con gandules and pastelillos and all of that is how we grew up. Flan and all these different types of food that we grew up with. But it was really honestly, family and my culture is very, very big. It's a blueprint for how I do everything today, really. So my family came from Isabela, Puerto Rico, and moved to Camden, New Jersey. We had a lot of culture. We were rich in family and rich in vibes and spirit and stuff like that. One of the things that also really stuck out to me growing up was my mom had a younger brother who passed away when he was 29, unfortunately, but we used to live together. He didn't always do what he was supposed to do, but he did it with great intention. He always used to tell me, in life, it's your family, then it's the law. So whatever you have to do for your family, you do for your family, and everything after that is everything after that, as long as you're doing for your family. And that's something that always stuck with me, in terms of obviously not breaking the law now, right? But doing things, I'm doing this for my people. I'm doing this for my culture. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how anybody looks at it. I don't care if you disagree. If you agree, great. But I have my people's best interest in mind. So that's something I really carry into my work and what I do with building a community and speaking about issues in the community. How does this affect not just my people, but people who identify with this as well?
Yeah. I love the way that you're speaking about family and the core values and the connection. This is the whole point of this podcast because this is what I want to show people. And for me, I love that. So something that sticks out is I know that you're originally from New Jersey and you've done a little bit of traveling, right? You recently got your passport in 2022 and you've been to how many countries now?
15 countries.
That is amazing. Yeah. With you traveling around the world with your career, what's something that makes you feel like home?
You know what? I love no matter which country I go to, I've been to Japan, Korea, China, England, Netherlands, I'm always going to hear music from Puerto Rico. Yes. Always. You're going to hear Bad Bunny, you're going to hear something. Rico. It doesn't matter where you go. That's amazing to me because it's such a small island. There's no Puerto Ricans here in LA, you know what I mean? I mean, there's probably 6, including myself. It's such a small island, so for me to go somewhere, I was in Greece on the beach, right? And I hear Daddy Yankee playing, and I'm like, wow, I don't think anyone had this, I don't think anyone imagined that the music from this island could be that global, could be that popular, considering, I mean, you're growing up with there's so many other popular genres, pop and K-pop, Afrobeat and everything, but for us to be there and be prominent to where people know these songs, they don't even know Spanish is amazing. So that's probably the best thing I find when I'm traveling to different countries. It's you may not know me as a person, but you know my culture a little bit.
Yeah, that is so crazy. And then music, and we'll get to talk about that in a bit. That blows my mind.
100%. I always take a video and I send it to my mom. Guess who's playing right now in the middle of China? Bad Bunny. Yeah.
I love that. And Melissa's such a Bad Bunny fan.
I all are manifesting he's on here one day.
Well, for a little bit on my Twitter bio.
Do you have connections with Bad Bunny?
Not yet. He's from where my uncle is from.
Oh, wow.
So my grandma was going through. She's like, maybe someone's uncle's girlfriend's sisters, somebody knows their family. We could figure it out. And I'm like, let me know if possible. But I used to point that I'm the second most famous Puerto Rican in LA. Kendall Jenner, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm back.
That's so funny. I love that. Okay, let's talk about resilience and the turning point. Every story has something heavy. Sometimes we don't like to go there a lot, but do you want to share something that growing up was affecting you, and then how are you dealing with it? How have you come out of it?
For the people who don't know who I am, I work for Dolby. I run a music camp for Dolby. But before that, I co-founded a music and tech community. Started in New York City and turned into a global community with the help of the pandemic, of course. But my work, dealing with people and talking to artists and to music creators all the time, I have to get in front of the camera and speak in front of people, and I'm such a shy person. As a kid, I was the most antisocial person ever. It goes back to family, right? I didn't have a lot of friends. When you're Hispanic, you got like 15,000 cousins, so they're all your friends. But I would say, honestly, my uncle was my best friend when I was a kid. He was diagnosed with cancer when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and he was only 28, 29. It was super young, so a lot of my memories were of him going through that process of chemotherapy and in and out of the hospital. Towards the end of his life, he was living with family, but that meant that we shared a room together, right? For me, I always felt like if he could go through that and still keep such a great personality, there's nothing in the world you could tell me that is gonna stop me from being the best that I can be. Like, you would literally have to take me off of this earth in order to stop me from doing what I want to do. It was a rough time when I was younger. I'll never forget this. There was a lot of drama when he passed away, and my mom didn't know how to tell me. She was only a year older than him, so she was 29, 30 years old. And I held a lot of resentment when she didn't tell me. She came back and told me after the funeral had happened, and I felt like, oh my God. Imagine thinking as a kid you have a best friend, and then you just never see them again. And that was very hard, and I went through therapy as a child. I went through anger management as a child. I had very bad anxiety. But I had to think back, like recently, imagine being in that space where you have to tell this child, hey, you love this person, right? And I don't know how to tell you. Like, that's very difficult to do. So that always stuck with me growing up. And I don't think it's the best way to deal with this. I probably need therapy for this. But I always just disassociate from certain situations, be very here in the moment right now. If this person doesn't like me, if this person doesn't do that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, something's going to change and we just move on with it. That kind of helped me kind of build my way that I interact with people, where it's like, if I get up in front of the stage, I'm not going to see these people again. I've been through that, but worse. Like, I can do that again, you know what I mean? I can go through where I'm going to stand up on the stage, and hopefully I do see them again, but I'm not going to let that make me nervous or scared. That's probably something that really stuck with me as a kid. And I think that as I got older and I started to go through school and try to figure out, like, what do I want to do with my life, I was a bit rebellious, but a good rebellious. Not where I was bad, but always, if I do what I'm supposed to do, then nobody can really tell me anything, right? But I never did my homework. And I had one teacher in life that kind of came to me and was like, listen, like, there's something about you that's very special, but you need to, can we curse on here?
Yeah.
You need to get your shit together, right? Like, you need to get it together, right? Because you're very smart, you're very bright, but you're not applying yourself, and you can do a lot. You just need to put the hard work for it. So I always felt, once I got to that point, I felt a little bit lost as a child. I didn't know where to go. I held that moment from my childhood for such a long time. For somebody random to kind of see and guide me and give me the tough love that I always needed was really helpful.
Shout out to that teacher.
Right.
Do you remember?
Her first name was Carolyn, from Jersey, from Cherry Hill High School West. She was tough.
Yeah.
She was a very tough teacher.
Jersey?
She's from Jersey. She was very tough. She was not the type of teacher that you play around with. But I always like people like that. I prefer somebody to come to me and just be like, yo, get your shit together. Yeah. Rather than kind of like sugarcoat and,
like,
you know, try to coddle me, because I need to get, like, gather me up. You know what I mean? Like, it was in a moment where I was like, I think I was a junior and my grades were subpar. But she was like, hey, I'm going to sit here. We're going to do the homework together. She put me as the anchor for the high school news, which I did not want to do at all. But she's like, you got to get out there. Whatever you're going through, you got to shake it up. So I would say there's way more people in my life that have been influential, but those two people, my uncle and her, really shaped my personality and my approach right now. Hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you for sharing. It sounds like that's what deeply tested you, and the people around you were really your anchors. You build your identity in who you are today and what you do.
You were a news anchor. Did you do the morning
I did
shows?
Yeah, it was on the local news channel. Channel 19 had the school news that you could watch from anywhere in the city. You would see me in a suit that didn't fit me. It looked like I was going to court. And I would give the news. Everyone said I was super little and I had a deep voice, and they liked it. It's crazy because, you know what, I always joke that growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandmom, And my grandmama has the most broken English ever. We were saying in the car, some words and things that I would say, I didn't even realize that I had a little accent on that. I'm glad now that I've had a lot of time to practice, because if you get me in my environment, I'm going to give you a fast-paced, Puerto Rican kind of style English.
I do want to acknowledge there was a part where you were saying, I don't know if this is not healthy, but you were actually talking about just deeply present in every moment. What I appreciate about that is despite fear and nerves and anxiety, you still do what you want to do in that moment.
I get very nervous when I speak in public and I have a lot of anxiety. What I've learned is just turn it off. When you turn it off or ignore it, you just jump right into the moment. You start doing what you're supposed to do. And then when I'm done, whoa.
Yeah.
It all comes back to me right afterward. And you did so great. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really, in the moment I was blacked out. I didn't even think about it.
I think sometimes as parents, going back to your story, we don't have the right answer and we don't know how to deal with things. So we deal with it as it comes, right? Yeah. And it's those challenging moments with our kids that kind of build resiliency and develop the character of who you are. You learn to overcome all these difficult challenges. At the end of the day, it's still you. And now that you're an adult, you realize you have to grind it out every day. Your heart's still pumping. You just got to give it all you have every single day. And sometimes it's not even for yourself. It's for your community or for your mom, just anybody. But yeah, that's difficult. I was thinking about what I would do as a mom. You don't know what to do. It's tough.
You know what's crazy I was thinking about recently, right? Have you guys had the moment yet where you're like, oh my, I'm 33. I remember when my mom was 33 or my dad was 33.
Yeah.
And I thought they had it all figured out. But then you look back in retrospect and you're like, they were still figuring it out. I had that moment not too long ago. As a kid, you don't notice that. You're just like, all right, whatever you say, like, boss, you got it.
It reminds me of the saying, remembering that your parents are living their life for the first time as well. That's a crazy thing, too, because to your point, you look at your parents and you think they're supposed to be experts and know all the answers. And then you look back at it and you're like, no, they're actually trying to figure this out.
And I
for
was
the
the first child.
time.
So,
Firstborn.
And how many brothers or sisters do you
I
have?
just have one younger brother, 6 years younger than me.
I catch myself putting a little added pressure on Mia, and then I find myself thinking like, oh, my older sister used to take care of us and do all these things. I want her to enjoy her childhood. Shout out to the big
I feel like
siblings.
I was the
too.
second father.
Yeah.
Like my mom used to sit me down and be like, there's only one parent here, okay? So he's going to listen to me, not you. And be like, all right, let's try to help, you know? Yeah.
So let's talk about your career. So
Yeah.
you're a music program manager at Dolby. What do you do?
It's so funny when people ask me, what do you do for work? I'm like, how much time do we have? Because it's my dream job. I build music programs for emerging music artists and learning how to work with immersive audio. So if you ever heard of Dolby Atmos, immersive audio, spatial audio, these artists are coming into a studio designed for this and learning how to create music this way. Dolby Atmos is one of our flagship technologies at Dolby. We run these music camps, which are like songwriting camps globally. And we'll take these artists, usually they're on the cusp of becoming popular and achieving some success, signing to a label, going on a tour. We want to get them involved in the creation process with this technology and get them comfortable with it. I always try to take it from a standpoint of, I don't want to sound like a salesperson when I'm telling them about this. I want to show them like, I want to be here as a tool and as a partner for you as you build your career. So I like to bring in some other partners that we have to talk about their areas and say, as you grow, we want to grow with you. And this is a two-way conversation. You talk to us, we talk to you, and let's figure out how we can serve you better as the creative, because your job is way more important than mine.
How did you come across that career? Like, what were you doing before?
This goes back to hardship. Right. So my teacher, Ms. Roscoff, got me to go to college. My guidance counselor was looking at me, just sign up for community college and go there. When she had me apply to colleges and everything, and I took the SAT score, I was very, not to toot my own horn, but I was very good at math. And I got a very high score on the math, and everyone was shocked. And so they're like, okay, we'll apply to other colleges too. So I got into college. And I went to school, but I've always dealt with this. I don't feel like I have to prove to somebody that I'm smart. They should just know I'm smart. This is what I used to think as a teenager. I don't have to do the homework and all of that. I got it. So when I got to school, I went to school and I ended up dropping out. When I dropped out, I was kind of thinking, when you're in that age, you're like, well, Kanye dropped out, and somebody else, who was it, Steve Jobs or somebody else dropped out of college? I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Why can't it be me too? Yeah. Even though the odds of it are very, very low. Do not do that, please.
I think about that all the time. I'm going to school and I'm like, I could just start something and I'd be great at it. I'm going to be the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah, they're like, they push that to you.
Yeah.
It's like, but you still got that. You went to school, you might as well
go to
too,
school.
Right? So I ended up dropping out, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was like, honestly, let me just get out and start networking with people and go to New York City. I went to New York City a lot as a teenager for music, because I was a music producer before. I was like, let me just see who I can meet, because another thing that always stuck out with me is the 6 degrees of separation. Somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows Jay-Z. So I can get to Jay-Z if I try. My friends and I were doing these events in New York City, the Digiligue, and we had 30 people that were coming. People were getting word of it and we're promoting it. And we were working with Microsoft and Wix and WeWork. All these companies were coming and working with us. And over about 5 or 6 years, we were getting 200, 300 people to show up at our events consistently throughout the year. Somehow somebody got word that Dolby was opening up a 2-story activation space in Soho. They were inviting as many people from the communities to come in and to program it. So they came to us and they're like, hey, if you want 2 days in this massive warehouse space in Soho, New York City to program something, let us know. And we're like, sure, why not? The first night was artist performances, and the second night was panel discussions talking about music industry things. As an artist, how do I promote myself and how do I social media and all of that? And it was a great turnout, packed it out both nights. So we had a really good relationship with them. Yeah. And we had a really good relationship with just in New York City community. At some point, the pandemic happened and they came to us and they're like, we have to shut this store space down. But we need somebody to come in and program virtual events for us, which we were already starting to pivot ourselves to. Do you have anybody in your community that we could hire for a role? And I was like, I had just gotten laid off from my previous job because I was working at a marketing agency. And I was like, I'll apply for it. Let's see what happens, right? Didn't think I would get it. And it was a pandemic, so we were getting all the extra bonuses when you got your weekly unemployment check. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I need to get a job. I need to apply and practice, so let me just go for this. There's no way a tech company is going to hire me because I don't have a college degree, but let's just see. And I did it. I went through 4 or 5 rounds of interviews, and they're like, we want to hire you. And I was going to tell them no because it was a pandemic. I was traveling to Puerto Rico back and forth, and I was enjoying my free time. And they're like, we want to hire you, and this is the rate. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I had to figure it out. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know how I got this. Nobody asked me for a college degree. So I was like, all right, let's go. I was working as a content producer for them. I was doing the virtual events and running the website. I knew how to do this because I had taught myself a lot of this stuff, which is the theme of my life. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I got to figure this out in real time. We had 9-hour days. I was working 12 hours and I was online learning things. On the weekend, I was on YouTube trying to figure out how to do certain things. I had to prove myself that I felt like it was my only opportunity to really do something. But that was a contract. When the contract is done, you only get 18 months. Yeah. So when the contract is done, I need to figure out what to do after that. But I think that building the community with the Digiligue really helped me. It was like, even though you didn't go to college, you have this on your resume, you've proven that you've built communities, you've been able to generate revenue, you've done all of this. But when the contract was over, they're like, all right, we're going to try to find a way to convert you to full-time, but we have to find the right space for you. Long story short, I was in Mexico City on a vacation, and the director of the team that I was working on as a contractor called me, and she's like, there's an opportunity that could be really cool for you. There's a team within Dolby that works with filmmakers, and they help them make their first short films with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. They go through writing camps for writing the scripts and stuff like that, but they want a music version of this. And I think you should pitch something to them because maybe there's an opportunity for them to create a role for you. And I said, okay, great. She said the director for that team is going to be in New York City, so you should go meet him next week. And I was, I'm in Mexico City. I don't know when I'm going to be able to go. Can you do Zoom? And she's like, no, you need to go over there. And I was like, okay. She's like, just email him and set up some time. All right, got you. So I emailed him, hey, heard you're going to be in New York City. Unfortunately, I'm in Mexico City, but can you do Zoom so that we can go over this? And he said, well, actually, I'm going to be in the city, so we should just meet in person. So I had to buy a ticket for the next week. I flew to New York City, which I was like, this better work, because if I'm doing all this and I just cut my Mexico City trip short for this, I'm going to be pissed. But I flew, I sat down with him. We had a really good conversation. I told him about the community I had built in New York. When my ethos, why do I do this? I want everybody to be able to make music, whether you live in New York or Los Angeles or anywhere in the world. I want you to have the same access to the resources, the knowledge, the tools. I don't want you to feel afraid to ask questions or anything like that. And we really aligned on that. We spent 4 months going back and forth, building what this program could be. I had to pitch it in front of the CMO. When I had to pitch it to him, he kept pushing it back. I was in a WeWork in Miami, and he was like, we got to do it at 8, and they were closing at 7. I was begging the people, like, can you please just stay open? I will pay you if you have to. But he greenlit it. I got the job, and it's like, all right, now you have free reign. This is the budget. Build out this program. Work with these artists and help introduce them to our technology. And I was thinking, wow, I did all of that off of just networking and speaking to people and knowing how to sell my vision to them. Otherwise, I would have to be working at some other place. I feel like I wouldn't have the right credentials to have a job like that. But I had to really get out there and prove it to people, like, this is who I am.
Did anybody along your way, as you were selling your story and your vision, was anybody dismissive?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, and not dismiss. See, this is, my parents were very different parenting styles, which I appreciate. It was good cop, bad cop, right? I love both of my parents. But my mom was always, she saw the vision too. My mom was always very supportive and would buy the music equipment or send me somewhere, even if we didn't have the money for it, because she believed in it. So I always held it in myself that if she made those sacrifices for me, I got to make sure that this works too. But people would be like, even her to a certain extent, would be like, why do you keep going to New York and you're throwing these events and you're working with these people and you're doing this, but you're not getting paid enough for it? Like, you're doing a lot of this for free. I did a lot of it for free because I didn't have the credentials to ask for money to do this. I had to prove my point for what I'm trying to do. It went from, why don't you just get a job here, go work in Philly or go work in New York and start doing something. I'm like, I see where it's going. I feel the vision. We're getting closer. You just got to bear with me. And at some point it went from, why are you doing that? This is not making you any money, to, hey, I was thinking about maybe we could go to LA together. Hell no, you think you could connect me to so-and-so? Is there any way that you could get me on the list for this thing? But I had to prove myself to get to that point. So I'm not even mad at that, honestly. I'm happy that I got to that point.
And Digiligue, how do you say that?
Digiligue, yeah.
Digiligue, did you find that?
Co-founders, so there's 4 co-founders, but it's a huge community, and the team is large as well. Okay. So I play just a small part on a larger team.
Were you there during when it was building? Initially? Cool.
Yeah, so we were there, and even when we were trying to pitch for partners and try to get money, I went and started cold emailing people that I found from LinkedIn, which never works.
Yeah.
Right? And I found Sennheiser, the audio company, and I was like, hey, we're doing this event. It's centered around women in music. We want to invite you and put you on VIP, and we'll have reserved seating for you. And if you have +1s, let me know. I'll be your person of contact. And I was going around making makeshift gift bags for them. I printed out signs that said reserved. We didn't have any of that. That was all made up. But I gave them the experience. They came to the event. They loved it. And they're like, we want to work with you guys. Here's a budget for us to do something together. We put on a 4-day activation in New York City around the future of music, which helped sell my role with Dolby. That was a big realization for me. I didn't have to show anybody my diploma. I just got to show you the vision and the proof that this is what we can do and do it. And the options are endless from there.
Yeah. Have you talked to any other high school students that are kind of going through the same thing?
I used to go to, because my parents are from Camden, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And Camden is one of those cities that always makes the news for some of the bad qualities of the city. But there's a lot of talent. Any inner city that I've gone to the Bronx and Compton and Detroit and a bunch of different places and talked to students. There's so many bright students out there. I used to volunteer at Camden High, and there was this entrepreneurship elective class. I used to go on Tuesdays and talk to the students. Kids do it as an elective. If they care, they care. If they don't care, they don't care. There's always going to be one kid, though, that is going to hear you. And so that was always my point, too, is if that one person hears what I'm saying and it sticks with them and they can use that to move forward with what they want to do, I'm always going to do that. So I'm always looking for more opportunities. Obviously, I live in LA now, so I can't go there as much. But I've really enjoyed working with school children just because they don't know what's out there. And sometimes they don't know where the first step is to even look for it. So if I could provide that, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah. I wanted to say one more thing, going back to the LinkedIn comment that you said, how you message so many people. It's one of the struggles we're going through now. When we first envisioned building this podcast, we're like, this is such a good cause. And we just envisioned having so many people on our show. I think that we find ourselves, a lot of people just don't respond. Like, everyone's busy or we don't have a huge following. And as you were talking about that, it gave me a little bit of inspiration. It's going to be okay.
When we were reaching out to some of these people, we didn't have a huge following either. And I was just hoping somebody would respond. And I think, honestly, there's something that goes a long way with just being very charismatic and building that personal connection to someone. I get pitched all the time on LinkedIn from people, and they're like, hey, I was thinking we could do X, Y, and Z. But if I feel that message is very generic, not to say that yours was, but if I feel like they're not really interested in me as a person and wanting to know how we can build something authentic and genuine together, then I'm like, all right, I would love to work with everybody, but I have to be very mindful with my time. I can't just go and give my energy to every single person that does that. But when I find somebody who I'm like, wow, this is really cool, and I see the vision for what you're doing, I'm like, yeah, 100%, let's figure something out.
One last question. Your background, you're Afro-Puerto Rican. What is it like being Afro-Puerto Rican in tech? Do you see people like you? Is it lonely? Do you feel empowered? It's
funny because I feel like in tech, I see a lot of Latinos, but I don't see many Afro-Latinos yet in tech. So it is something that does kind of stick out to me. But I think that for me, hey, you got me. Let me show you how great we are, and hopefully we can get some more people that look like me out there, you know, pursuing careers doing this, because it's possible. I feel like if you can take me, who was the laziest, and come and do something with a company like this to the point where now we're building global programs and stuff like that, that should be a message that anybody could be able to do this as well. And I think that even just for me, there's a bit of that imposter syndrome that I had at first too, where it was like, do I really need to be here? I don't use carte blanche in my speech every day. Do I have to change the way that I talk? Do I have to speak a certain way or present myself a certain way? And then I'm like, you know what? No, I don't have to do that. They hired me for me. I got here being myself, and that's what they want. And that's the secret sauce. It is possible, and I do want to see more people, of course. And there are people doing great things in tech outside of myself, and people I look up to as well that I want to align
Who's
myself.
someone you look up to?
Somebody that I look up to in tech. In general. You know, it's funny. Here's another person, and this is not tech at all. You know who I've really always looked up to, and I was just telling my mom this, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was another person, basketball player, who I always looked up to because Allen Iverson was himself all the time. If you ever have 30 minutes, just go watch an Allen Iverson interview. Somebody who's super authentic, rough around the edges, but very passionate about what they do, and they have just a very charismatic aura that you feel like they can accomplish anything. And that's something that I always wanted to carry into my career as well. I would look at somebody like him before I looked at Steve Jobs or someone, because I felt like that's somebody who I could relate to.
Well, I think you have an amazing aura to yourself, and it would be like, I just picture myself working with you. I'd really like to work with this person. I like your personality.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you talked about a teacher in high school that you remember was really seeing something in you and helped inspire you to take some extra steps. I'm kind of curious, in the same way that you talked about that and community and the way that family played a big role in your journey, what are some of the ways that community showed up for you throughout your experiences, supported you along the way?
Family.
Yeah.
I think family has always been supportive. Growing up, we went through a lot of different hardships. After my uncle passed away, my grandmother on my dad's side was raising me, and then she passed away 4 years after that. I had an uncle who was murdered in 2018, and we had gathered around each other. So I feel like we always dealt with untimely loss. But in those moments, it was family pulling together and saying, hey, we got each other. So if you need to sleep here, we'll cook for you. Everyone living with each other in these situations. And so I always felt like I was so lucky to have a family that would always be there for me, and I would always be there for them, because I always felt like no matter what happens in life, as long as I got my family and my hustle, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting the way that you describe your family all coming together and making sure, let's all just make sure we're here for you, for each other, is the same mentality that I'm hearing in you describing the way that you do your work. What inspires you, right? Because you were talking about, I want to just make sure that there's even one person that I can reach, and that they know they can reach out to me and learn from me if there's any ways I can support them. So you giving forward in that way.
It's important. I know I can't talk to every person, but I always want to give everyone as much of my attention and time as possible. You never know whose life you can change. I have people that come up to me, hey, because of you, I'm working in this. I was like, me? Like, but yeah, you really opened that door for me. Wow, I never put much thought into what happens afterward, but I'm really happy to hear that, and I want to continue to do that. The thing that kills me the most is when you see a kid that is super talented and they don't know it. That kills me. And if it goes to waste, which I've seen, unfortunately, a few times, it really, really grinds my gears. So I really want to make sure that there is a world out there for the next generation that can go out, and if they want to do something, they know at least with the right persistence, I can achieve it.
I think that brings me to the last question as we wrap this up. There's so much that we've been able to learn from you and get inspired by. I'm curious, as somebody is listening to this episode now or in the future, what is one thing from your story that you would want them to take away from what you've shared?
I got laid off, right? And I had a really, really hard time once I got laid off. This was because of the pandemic, right? Marketing agency. And I didn't really know what's the next step. What am I going to do? I don't have a degree. Do I go back to school? Do I finish my degree? Like, what should I do? And I was like, you know what? I need to get my mind built around manifestation. This is where I want to go. This is where I see myself being. And I'm going to get there. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. And so I pushed through, and I was like, somebody tells me no, rub it off your shoulder, move on. There's so many other people out there. You can find a yes. I really do believe that anything is possible. And you can't get discouraged. And even if you think, oh, because I didn't finish school, or because I don't speak the language, or because I don't have X, Y, Z, delete that from your brain. Because the minute that you doubt yourself, you've lost. I've always believed in myself. Even when I didn't know how it was going to work, I still believed in myself because I knew I was going to find a way to figure it out. That's what I think, honestly. As long as you believe in yourself, you got a chance.
I can just feel your confidence. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, he believes in so much.
I'm telling you, I've had moments and I'll be like, yo, I don't know how this is going to work, but it's worked out in the past, so we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned that you got your passport in 2022.
Yes.
And since then, you've visited 15 countries. Why did you wait so long to get your passport?
Because I'm Puerto Rican. That's exactly why. Because you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. So for our family, that was the vacation. We went to Puerto Rico, which is not even really a vacation because you stay with your tia in like a house that has no air conditioning. But you go there or you go to Orlando, and that was it. Growing up, it was you go there, or you go to the Jersey Shore.
Who introduced you to global traveling?
Because I did music, I was always really fascinated by the London music scene. And I always wanted to go to London, even though I didn't go there first. I ended up going to Spain first. Once I took my first trip, I was like, you know what, let me just get the passport. My friends were going to Spain, so I was like, I'll go with you too. And that just unleashed like a crazy bug in me that I want to travel like every 3 months.
It was actually funny because when I came here, we had a game night at our friends, and then Brandon's like, welcome to America. And I was like, because like the first time I met him, it was in Lisbon, and we went to Amsterdam and
Oh, cool.
And
It was our
Japan.
first time being in America
Cool.
together. Yeah. The astrology people will say it's because I have a Sagittarius rising.
That's absolutely what it
Yes.
is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
I just have to travel and see different. I'm like
This makes so
fascinated
much
by different
sense.
cultures too. Like, I feel like I know everything I need to know about Hong Kong. I need to learn about how do other people make their rice, like in other countries. You know what I mean? That's super interesting to me.
What's on your vision board that you have to get to in your lifetime?
For travel, it's funny because I've been to all the countries that I want to go to. I still do want to go to Brazil. I'm planning to go to Thailand next year. So that's on my bucket list. But outside of that, I think I need to get to the white people vacations where we go through the safari and chase giraffes and stuff like that. Because I don't know what else is on my bucket list.
Swimming with sharks, maybe. I don't
I think I've gotten to that point now.
I have a question, and I respect if you can't answer it because some people feel like this jinxes it. But what is your dream accomplishment in your life when you think about manifesting? What is that future for you?
I feel like if I wrote a book, I would be really happy just because I could tell my life story and hopefully somebody could take something from that.
They definitely could. There's so much that we're taking away from this.
Yeah.
Put it on
yeah.
paper.
So when are you starting? You got to start.
What would your book be called?
What would my book be called? I didn't even think of that. I have no idea, honestly. I don't know. I don't want to give something corny.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for coming.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you
fun.
for having me. I love what you guys are doing, and I love platforms like this. Keep going, and consider me a friend of the show.
Thank you. Oh, wait, I have a question. In Mexico, we have dichos, sayings, either something that your grandma used to say or just anything funny that comes to mind. Like, well,
I think what sticks with me, my
I'm
mind.
just laughing at Chuck.
My mom always used to say maletengo.
Maletingo?
Maletengo. Grab your maleta and go. You gotta be ready at any moment to be doing something. So you maletengo.
Maletengo.
No. It's maleta and go, but you just
Oh,
maletengo.
maletingo.
Yeah.
Maletingo.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
So that's what she would always say. Come on, maletengo.
Maletengo.
And we're all right, let's. But I'm always pivoting and always trying to figure out. All right, this didn't work. How are we gonna make it work now? Maletengo. We're gonna figure it out.
Maletengo.
Oh, I love that.
Can't
Wait,
wait
that
to say that to my daughter.
I was going to ask Brandon, what advice can you give us for us starting this podcast? We have some things we're questioning. Can you give us advice?
People can't tell that you're nervous. Only when you tell people you're nervous, then they know you're nervous. Unless you're very visibly nervous. So that's one thing I always think about is that unless I say something, they will never notice. And you really gotta. I look in the mirror. I'm yo, you're that guy. Like you're him, right?
Yeah.
You're that dude. So you gotta go out there and act like it. Even if you kind of doubt it a little bit, when you go out there, let them know I'm that guy and I'm gonna get this done.
Okay, before we wrap up, I can't forget this part. So we're actually doing a Raíces cookbook, and we're completely funding this on our own because we believe so strongly in it. But we want to offer recipes for each guest.
Okay.
and you each will be sharing, you know, something that's like reminds you of your childhood. Was it a snack or a meal or a drink? So what is it that you could share with us?
What did I like as a kid? I mean, I can give you a hoko gandules, of course. I could give you a recipe for sofrito. I go and travel to 3 different supermarkets around LA. I make my own sofrito the way my grandma made it, because I can't find anywhere to get my food, so I have to make it myself. Or you can give me a couple pages on that.
I would love to have.
It could just be your
coquito.
cookbook.
Have you guys ever had coquito?
Oh, I've never had coquito.
You've never had coquito?
That's a Christmas thing, though, right? Coquito.
It's coming up. The season's actually now. It's November. I can give you some coquito now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys coquito. It's basically horchata, but it's our version. It has coconut and cinnamon and vanilla. It's very, very good. And
Liquor?
Rum.
I love
Some
it.
people put white and dark. I try to spice it up and make it a little bit cooler. I put a little ginger in there sometimes. That's my own thing that I put in there. You have ajo con dulce, which is really, really good. It's sweet cream, coconut, rice, raisins. Maybe not everybody's jam, but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe those. I would stick with that.
Okay.
You mentioned
Or
flan.
patelillos, which is like, I grew up on patelillos, which are empanadas, but that's what we call them.
All right, so you're giving us like 7 recipes.
We welcome them.
Let's clap. Let's do it.
Laugh.
Manifestation come true.
Yeah.
Brandon's book.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to share them. Hopefully somebody hears this and it resonates with them.
I trust. There's a lot that each of us was resonating with in different ways. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything you've shared with us. I mean, that's a lot. So there was a lot of vulnerability in what you shared, and we appreciate that.